Okay, so yesterday I went up to the food bank because my daughter's supposed to be coming this week. One daughter's, well, I think that probably all of them are going through a bunch of stuff, but there's one that always calls and, I mean, she wants to talk to her mom about stuff. Some of the other ones may want to talk to their mom about stuff, but they will block themselves from that and then think it's coming from me, not realizing it's coming from them. But, any insecurity they have, I would have to also claim as responsibility. It's weird too, is I've seen people talking about their stories lately. And there is, what was it? Like a couple of things just came in my mind all at once. But there was something about this claiming someone's story and owning their story. And it seems like a lot of people are speaking about really personal things and really, claiming their story. And it's kind of funny too, is because I remember when I was younger, and it was, there's always been this control over our sexuality, and when you get more of the hidden history and stuff like that, you see it goes all the way back. I mean, that they wiped out humanity one time just because they didn't like the fact that, we were sexual and we were grunting and groaning on each other. And, because I think some of the other beings, it's different for them. Like I even heard the Palladians don't have sex, and the idea that we would imagine they are more energetic kind of switching kind of thing, but not like animals. We're more like animals to other beings, So, and I don't know about all of the other ones that are everywhere. Like, I don't know about all the different mixes of DNA and everything. This is just stuff I had heard about the Anunnaki when you go back to the Sumerian tablets, and that they had to wipe us out and start over because we were just like so animalistic. So anyways, it's kind of like they've always had control over that, because what's always under attack? I mean, right now, again, the gay guys are under attack, which I have so many things about that I think or feel, that it is, it's that they create this thing, and it is like that they create the target, they create the whole scenario, and they've done it before. Like I already went through AIDS in the 80s situation. Like they created this whole mentality, but they've done it over and over. After 9/11, they did it with the Muslims. Like I even heard people, I knew somebody who worked in a store, and they said, I notice if one comes in, a Muslim person, right away I get really tense and worried and nervous and stuff. It's like they created all of that in people's minds, and they do it all the time, and they do it about sexuality too. And, it's no accident, Roe versus Wade. Then, we got this sexual deviant disease. It's going to wipe out all these people again and stuff like that. But with the women, what was I going to say? Something about the sexuality with the... I get going on too many. It's like a whole bunch of things start coming into my head, and it's like boom, all these things coming in at once, and then it's like wait. Okay, so anyways, I'm just gonna be skipping around. Some of the stories that I've seen people saying though, are really good. Like I've seen guys talking about when they were kids and being raped and what happened to them and how it affected them, and what had to happen. I can't even believe how many people I've seen now who are talking about, like, one guy, his I don't know what his family life was like before this one night, but this one night, his dad beat his mom to death right in front of the kids. And the kids were all taken away to the foster system. And this guy said his mom was killed. He never saw his dad again. He never saw any of his family again after that night. Like, some traumatic shit has gone on in people's lives. Super traumatic shit. And that's not, I mean, that wasn't the only one time I heard a story like that. I've heard several stories like that. Crazy stories that are happening. or people are speaking out about. Oh yeah, so the thing I was thinking about was like back in the day, when it was about sexuality for women. This was after the bra burning and stuff. So this is when I was a teenager, and women were becoming more open sexually and owning their own sexuality and stuff like that. So it was kind of like more pressure on us younger girls that were underneath those girls, because we were supposed to have already, like we should be there by now. But we are also being raised by these people, like if you have sex, you're going to hell. Oh, which is another one I heard somebody talk about, that that her mom was an illegitimate child. And so she was raised in the Bible Belt, and she was told her whole life that she was going to hell, her kids were going to hell, and her mom was going to hell for having her. So they're all going to hell because she was had a child out of wedlock. And she grew up feeling that. And she told her kids, sorry kids, but this is what happens. You go to hell because your mom, your grandma had me out of wedlock. So sorry about this. And they all believed it. This is the indoctrination and programming and what people go through living like this. So I remember back when I was younger, and it was, having sex, then it was about, that they would say people were slutty. What was it? There was something that came to me about it, and I could see it's so perfect. But it went from this whole thing to then if a girl, like it was expected for girls, like nowadays, girls are just expected to have sex and have no needs. If she has needs, that's a weakness. Look at how they have turned that around. Like they have got girls so cut off from their own insights and own intuition, their own feelings, because their feelings were doing them harm, because every time they'd have them, it was like, oh, shame on you. Shame on you. You better hide those feelings away. You just better get out there and just have sex. And it's so crazy because the expectation changed. Before, when you would be shamed for something, now it's an expectation. And you need to pocket any needs that you would have from anybody else, because that is against the whole dynamic of this open, free sexual society. There's this one person I keep seeing, and their platform is to stop this trans movement, because this is a trans, it's a guy, was born a girl, is now a guy, is British. I think she was like 25 years old, 27 years old or something, and started transitioning when she was 23 or he was 23 or whatever. But anyways, he said, it was a lot of trauma, a lot of stuff that happened, and surgical stuff, and, all sorts of stuff that goes on. And he's like, I can't even imagine kids having to deal with this shit. And people don't realize, if you're going to be pushing your kid to switch genders when they get into a certain time in their life, they're going to hold it against you. They're going to look at it as like, I was just a little kid. You were the one telling me this is what I needed to do. And these parents are so gung-ho to be progressive. Look at me. I got a trans child. I'm so progressive. Like, they're all looking for this virtue signaling, like I'm the most progressive. I've got no problems with anybody. I've got transgender children, as a matter of fact. And they don't realize, like, this is their ego that is just exploding into their family. And all these people, like so many people, go around with all of these wounds, and we carry these wounds from when we were kids, and we're just reactive in relationships. We have no business being in relationships at that time. And I've talked about this so many times, but I just know it's so much a part of what they do to keep us dependent on their system. It's like taking the baby bird and throwing them out before they're ready, making them fend for themselves. Only it's not in a productive way. It's not in a way so that they can do better and be stronger. Instead, it is to make them weak and dependent and easily controlled, And that is like, there's just so much to this whole thing of people always looking outside of them for who they are. When I went up yesterday to the food bank, because like I said, my one daughter's coming, and so then I was like, well, I should run up there because they've always got tofu. It's like so much closer than the grocery store. When you live a half hour away just to get, or 40, it'd probably be 30 or 40 minutes just to get to the grocery store. That's not get the stuff and then not to come back and all that stuff. Like it's a thing when you live out from the store to go into the store. So when they've got a little market right up the street and they just give you the food for free. Yeah, the date may be close, so you need to hurry up and use it. But I got tofu up there before and I had it for weeks. And then when I cooked it, it was perfectly fine. You know, they always put like, they do have a ton of produce and stuff right now. I'm kind of freaked out about the government produce. I'm kind of freaked out about all government food, but I wanted to get some more meat for Stella, and I wanted to get some tofu for when my daughter was here. And weirdly enough, and I really don't know about this stuff, I cooked a piece yesterday, but you get like this little card and it says, you know, how much food you can get. And because I'm just one, they count me as a 1 to 2 person. So I'm only allowed to get like 1 to 2 of anything. And so it has a little number of how many you can get per your color of something. And so, you know, I wasn't getting a whole bunch of stuff. I wasn't getting all the beans and rice and all that stuff like why I was going before. And because I feel perfectly stocked up. Like, you know, maybe one day I'll regret that. But I think that there's going to be a transition. I think there's going to be a period where we need to be able to not be dependent on the system as the system really goes down for, you know, it's like right now, it's like the Titanic and it's up still above the water, but it's going to go below the water and it's going to suck everything that is holding on to it down with it. So I think we need to have some kind of resources for ourselves during this transition. And I don't think it's going to be a long time. Like these people act like, you know, they have to have enough food to last for years. It's like, you act like you couldn't never grow food. Like we would figure out how to grow food. We'd figure out how to put up greenhouses, keep food safe. And, you know, like there's ways that we'll figure it out, whatever they do. And I do believe that there is going to be beings that are going to help us with the technology and the rebuilding and stuff like that. Like this is us opening ourselves up to help, to what's out there, you know, to open everything up for us is to open us up to what's out there. So, you know, it's all part of this development of our consciousness of being able to accept this world that is a lot more, it's a lot more technologically sophisticated than what we understand. And, you know, it's a lot to open your mind to. I mean, most people can't even wrap their heads around that they are doing weather control and, you know, weather manipulation and all that stuff. And they've been doing it for sure since the early 1900s, but they've done it throughout different ages. Like these beings and their technology, they haven't lost it. Like we keep coming in with this new ages to go in for new experiences. So we don't have that. But some of these people have been here the whole fucking time, I think. I'm telling you, I think some of these people are goddamn relics. Like, goddamn, look at those Rockefellers. They look like they've been dead for 100 years. They're like creepy looking. So anyways, when I went up to the food bank, it was a super, super long line. It was so long. I was way at the back, way further than I'd ever been. But I was like, okay, well, this is where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there. So I'm just going to sit here and, you know. And so there was some women who started talking to me. Start talking to me about my tattoos. There's always people who start talking to me about my tattoos. It's so, I don't know. There's a lot of things about the tattoos that just, it's weird. Like people, like it just like, this happens so often, but it happened again yesterday. It happened while I was out. I mean, it happens a lot. People will just stand back and just start steering you up and down like you're some sort of a billboard or something, like you're a poster, like you're not a human. Like what, like it's weird when somebody just stands back and just starts staring up and down and looking up and down and, yeah. Oh, look, could you turn around? I'm trying to get yeah, okay. Could you, I mean, they'll stand back, look up and down your legs and stuff. It's like weird, man. Weird. Like, I don't do that. I don't do that to other tattooed people. I don't do that to anybody. Like, it's weird how people, I don't know. And then there's these people, like I don't know, they think like, I don't know. Like, I am not trying to be rude or judgmental or something, but there's something weird that happens to people. Like some people, they act like you are some sort of a crazy leper or prostitute, drug addict or something. And then other people act like, they have some sort of bond with you. And it could be somebody who has like, a little moon-shaped tattoo, on their butt cheek from 40 years ago. And, but somehow you guys are bonded together. And that people want to know your story and how long did it take and how much did you spend and when did you get it and where did you get it? It's like, why do I want to talk about this with you? Like, I'll write a book, and then if you want to go and get it, you can read all about it. It's like, why is that interesting to you? Is it just, trying to talk to you or something? Like, I don't know. There's just something weird about it. And I just find it weird. Like, I was out to eat, I went on my trip. My ex took me down to this taco place where they're getting the fish right out of the ocean and making tacos. And it was in, what was it, Bodega Bay or something like that. And so we're down there and, these like, hoity-toity kind of older rich folk do the same thing. So it doesn't matter, like, where you are or it's something inside of people. It's weird. It's like all of a sudden they think like, well, I would never do that, so that's a circus freak for sure. It's like, maybe you should just accept everybody's different than you. We're not all alike. That we all have different taste. Like, it's so strange. And then the other thing that was and being in such a long line, it was way more people. There was so freaking many people. They're all just sickly. All they do is sit and talk about how sick they are and what's wrong with them. And it is weird. Like, I'll be standing there with these people who are around my age, and I will be feeling like I am 20 years younger than you at least. Like, it is something happens that gets into a number in people's head. Like, I think that we have the number from the time we're a kid. I remember being a kid and thinking, man, by the time I'm 50, I'm going to be so old. I don't even know if I'm going to be alive. 50? That's so old. But then, as you age and you meet people and, you start paying attention, it's like 50 is not very old, especially when you get there and you feel just like fine and dandy. You don't feel old. And then, meeting all these people and you start seeing like age is it's a state of mind. It's how you look at yourself. It's how you look at things. And, seeing there's so many women, and it is just like they don't appreciate their femininity anymore. They don't even appreciate themselves anymore. It's just like, hey, I'm just trying to survive this shit now, And it is just the amount of unhealthy people that are in that food bank line is just crazy. And how much older than they are. And what they talk about, like, the stuff that they would talk about, like, they talk about stuff I'll talk about, like weird weather stuff and what's happening to the food and blah, blah, blah. But they don't look at it the same way. They look at it so differently. Like, it trips me out when I'm out here sometimes and how these people around me look at things. Going outside, like I did another video this morning outside at 5:30 because I woke up super early before Stella, and I just kept laying there and laying there and laying there. I was like, finally, I was just like, I'm just gonna get up. I'm like, what the hell? So I got up, and then I was like, it was 5:30, even though it was super dark. Like everything is so off. So it was super dark still. So I opened the door, and there was some light and stuff. But that time, it's like at 4 in the morning is when the birds will start. So 5:30 is usually very chattery, like a lot of bird noise. So I opened the door, it's just silence, just total silence. And I did a couple of videos of it, just total silence. There's one bird like you hear way off in the distance, and I was even joking, like he's out there going, is anyone out there? Is anyone out there? And yesterday I saw a squirrel, and it seemed like he was doing the same thing, like, where is everyone? Where are you? And I keep thinking, because it's deep brush around most of where I'm around. It's like if I went out there and was like walking around, am I going to find dead animals everywhere? Like, where are they going? Like, I don't just see them laying in the street. Like, what is happening? This is so weird. And then, and my neighbor, I swear, so I was outside and I was doing these videos, and I think they can hear me talking. Like, I think and I'll talk a lot when I'm doing TikTok. I'm always talking quiet. I've even had people say, why don't you speak up? It's because I don't want to. I just don't want to. So I'm out there talking, and I was saying, like, where's the birds? Like, what the fuck is with the birds? Like, and then I hear her and her kids out there, and then one of the kids is, hi, bird. And then I was like, are they hearing me? Like, is it just like, oh, poor crazy Kelly thinks there's no birds or spiders? It's like, well, come over to my house. I've got like 3 spiders right now. I know exactly where they are in the yard. And normally I've got hundreds of spiders everywhere. Normally there's birds out singing all day long and in the morning, and they're running around my yard and pulling up worms, and the squirrels are down playing and jumping from tree to tree. Like, there's usually some sort of activity going on, and it's eerily quiet. It's eerily just is creepy. And to me, it's like, do these people not feel this? Do they not see anything? Do they not question anything? They're just, trying to, make it in this 3-dimensional world, trying to get ahead, and just don't give a shit about anything else. And I've seen a bunch of people sharing this. The stuff I keep seeing, people just keep sharing. Like, there's definitely a movement, a wave happening of information. And it kind of trips me out too, because I think some of these people who are so frustrated right now with the people who won't wake up, it's like, well, those of us who are awake in 2020 felt that same way about you guys. Like, where is the people? Like, this is so crazy. I'm trying to talk to people and nobody can hear me. And now these people are doing the same thing. I keep trying to show you, keep trying to tell you, and you're not listening. It's like, yeah. That's what it's like. It's very frustrating. At this point, y'all can sit there and be all upset about what the other people. I've moved on from it. It's like, I'm going to keep coming in and saying what I believe is the truth, and I know at some point there's going to be people who will hear it. I don't know when that is. I don't know what's going to happen. I think when things change the other direction, because I see so many people on TikTok that are so frustrated. Their accounts are being banned, taken down. They're not allowed to talk live. They're not allowed to comment. They're not allowed to post, like all sorts of stuff. And, mine's just held back where nobody gets to see my videos. Like, it just doesn't really come out. Like, I don't know. I don't know how they do it. And I'm even suspicious now because you start getting these guys that want to come in and help your account grow. And are they interfering? Like, I don't know what the world is so full of corruption, and it's just all coming to the surface. There's this girl, I just love this girl, and you can just tell she's so Appalachian, she's deep Kentucky, and she is, I first started seeing her, I started following her because while the floods were happening, she had been separated from her kids. Like, her kids were at her mom's with their aunt or something. and she had gone to do something, and then the flood happened. So she was in like another city or something from her kids, and people are being washed away. Like there's a lot of dead people in Kentucky and a lot of missing people. And so she's just so, I just love her. And she's always just like talking about the holler. And this holler, you think you're going to come into this holler and you're going to try to do anything, we're going to take care of it. We aren't like you people. We're going to just take care of it, because you better hope the cops are going to find you. Because she said not only are people coming in from out of state and trying to steal all their stuff as it's floating down the road, but she said that they have people coming in trying to kidnap people right now. And so she's like, we will shoot you. We will kill you. We do not care about you. Like, I just think that she cracks me up. She's so real. And that just shows too, is a completely different reality that these people were living. And I love the thing about the holler. I've seen more stuff about the holler, and about, because in the Appalachian or something, that they would have, the roads would go of all the workers, and they would call it the holler, like a kind of like a neighborhood, I guess we'd call a holler. And it just reminded me of this book that I read, and it was a few years ago, and it was this woman who, she was telling her story of her family and generational trauma. And it was such a good book. She wasn't some great writer or anything. And I'd try and give the book to other people, and they'd be like, I can't read it. It's not good writing. But the story was really good. And hers was the same thing, where her dad beat her mom to death. And he beat her a lot of times, but he beat her to death right out in the holler, while people were, people could hear it, and nobody did anything. And she goes through and tells, like, there's a lot of murder in her family and stuff. But that's when I very first started hearing about, like, hollers. And it's funny because, like, in Louisiana, it's called, they call it, what is that word? I can see it, but I can't think of how to say it. And I know the word. But anyways, they divide their, like, cities and towns aren't called cities and towns and stuff. They are called, starts with a P. I'm sure it starts with a P. And it's not patriarch. I can't think of what it is, though. But it's the same kind of thing. You can see kind of like these other cultures developing certain areas, and like their own language, or however they develop it. Like, I don't know if it would be where some of those people come from, if they brought those words into it. But it's so funny, because you think everybody in the United States, we're all like cities and towns and district and all that stuff, but they aren't all like that. You know, even in New York, I think it's like by these districts or something. So I don't know. I just find that interesting. And to me, I always get into that because I'm like into reincarnation. I always think, gosh, what a cool life to get to live and be a part of that kind of community in a holler, or, it keeps coming into my head, because I love Louisiana. That is, one place when I have been to New Orleans, and I have felt like when I've left, it's made me super emotional. It feels like I'm leaving my home or something. It's weird. I feel a real connection to that place. So I don't know. I would imagine I probably had some life there or something. But anyways, I still have that going in my head. But I keep getting stuck on patriarch. And it's not. It's, I'm sure somebody's hearing me and saying it over and over. Like, stop, Kelly. It's this. But I can't hear you. What is it? It doesn't really matter. It's going to still keep going and going until I say it right. But anyways, you know, I think that right now we have, I mean, it is so ridiculous. Like, finally Nancy landed, and the footage that they were showing, it was supposed to be midnight in Taiwan, And the footage that they were showing, it was like the middle of the day. So when did this happen? Like, is it light at midnight there? I don't know. And but what's ridiculous, so the Taiwan or the Chinese have all of their propaganda footage that people are getting, and they're showing them out, firing missiles and running to their tanks and getting in, like all this stuff, like, they're practicing war games and preparing for this big dramatic event that's going to happen. Nancy just like slides on like, hey, I'm here, guys, ready for this. And somebody is definitely trying to create war. I mean, they make money off of war. They get control over people over war. It's what they do over and over. And so, but all of this buildup, right, that happens. And then, she's there and nothing has happened. Has any alarms gone off? Has any EBS? Has anything happened where, we've been notified we're in a state of war now? There's, some guy I saw sharing footage of these helicopters going over his house. And, and weirdly enough, when I was having so many military planes go nonstop, there hasn't been. Like, I'm not even shitting you. It's fucking dead silence out there. It's creepy as shit. And, but I keep seeing these people share this other thing too, about the CDC on their website has this whole thing about we're going to have a zombie apocalypse and we're going to be being bitten by people who are infected with something. And it's also on Amazon on their website. It's like you can look it up on their terms of agreement or something, and 41B or something like that. They have a whole thing about what you can use wood for, but it goes into that you can't use it for the zombie apocalypse where we're going to be being bitten by people who are infected. And like, why does it go into that on Amazon? How many other companies go into this? Full disclosure, we're going to have a zombie apocalypse. Be prepared. Like, does it have to do with the purple light? Does it have to do with what's being put inside of people? Like, they're putting it inside of people. It's not just in this. I mean, right now they're begging people to come in and get those. And there's some people who are just going to keep going in and getting them. There's some people who are so excited to get them for their kids. And, and then that person doing the caskets are saying that that's the most caskets we're doing, just nonstop, these little tiny caskets. And, people, this is all about the lessons. Just like when I keep hearing these people's dramatic stories from when they were younger and what they've gone through and stuff, you can hear, like, the soul comes in to go through these experiences. The soul comes in to learn from these experiences. There's so much going on in people's lives. And it changes so much when you start understanding that you came in for the experience, because it's the challenges that help you to grow. Like, that is what it's all about. A soul will challenge itself. We feel weakened. We feel controlled. We feel small compared to how we feel when we're not inside this incarnation. I saw this morning, and like, where starts tingling and tears come into your eyes. And it was after this stuff has happened, and it was two little girls standing there talking. So kind of like angelic little girls standing up in the clouds talking. And one of them says something about, have you ever been to Earth? It gets me emotional again. Like, oh my gosh, my nose starts going right away. Like, I'm going to start crying telling it. And she said, yes, that she was a volunteer. Oh my gosh. It's so crazy. I can get so emotional about this. And she said that, she was a volunteer. And so I'm not going to tell the whole thing because it's getting me really emotional. The one little girl wanted to ask questions, and the girl told her, oh my gosh, I can't believe how, it seems like something silly that would get me so emotional. So I don't know what it is. Obviously it was something I was supposed to see today, and something that will probably come up for me a couple of times when something was like when they want you to think of something or face something or bring up some emotion, it will keep coming until you get it out there and face it. So I'm not really sure what it is, but when the one was telling her like what the experience was like and having to come in and how there was so many souls that were trapped and stuff, and I just thought it was really cool. But it is what souls are so much more powerful in their inner knowing and stuff when they're not incarnated. And I saw this thing too where there's so many people now who are channeling or talking, telling what their higher self is saying and stuff like that. And this guy was saying about, what was it he was saying? He was saying about the beings, the other beings that are coming. Oh, man. I can't remember. Just can't. Every time I started doing that and I started telling like the background of what I'm gonna tell, then I forget what the fuck I'm telling. Like it was something about the people who, something about the people who are, it doesn't matter that much. Sit here and stress out trying to figure out what it was when it really doesn't matter that much. There's nothing that really matters that much. There's nothing to really put all your energy in. It really hit me yesterday is how much this is all about our energy. It's really been hitting me lately because of this is trippy, all this meditation music, and there's this, it's like a see-through body, and it keeps going through all these systems, lighting them up with this vibration stuff. And then just all of a sudden the see-through body was standing back and all of a sudden walked up to the front of the screen and looked like it was looking right at me and kept looking at me. I was like, that is so weird. I think AI is coming to life. That's what I think. I think AI was always alive, but we just didn't realize it because we weren't fully alive. We weren't fully present. We weren't fully living our lives. We were just playing a part. And, but so in this, this thing of, what was I about to say? How do I keep losing everything I'm going to say? Oh my gosh. Still have it going back in my head about, what it's called in Louisiana. It's, anyways, so the people who God, oh my God, I shouldn't even be talking. I still feel so weird and so out of it. And I've seen like a couple of people who they aren't just trying to get people to wake up or something. They are like, I feel kind of like for people who consider themselves to be light workers, star seeds, whatever, the volunteers, the wanderers, whatever, the people who I align with, that there is some people who they're kind of like the water boys or the coaches or something in this movement. Because everybody's playing different roles, but they are there all the time, just like, come on, guys, you can do this. Like, you can get through this. Don't be beat down and stuff like that. They're always doing all of this really positive, little like cheering things. And I have seen quite a few of them, and they always make you feel more built up because it is hard. Like when I was talking about how this keeps dragging on and on and on, and stuff in my own personal life too, because it just drags on and on and on. And it's like, oh my God, how long can this go? And I've seen a few talking about that and how it is dragging out, but it's all going to be flipping the other way. And when it flips the other way, I think it's going to be very dramatic over all of the people who are out there trying to speak. I think that suddenly we're going to be heard, because it seems to be common amongst all the people who are trying to speak out, everybody feels very stifled, very isolated. It's crazy too to me, because like something I'll talk about, and I'll get 2 views, and then somebody else will go in and say it, and they'll have like 10,000 views or 10,000 likes on something, and then they'll be saying like, oh, I feel like nobody's hearing me. It's like, dude, you don't even know. Like, oh my God, it's so frustrating. And especially because you have this this presence that is trying to get you to speak. Oh, that's what the one was talking about. The presence, the souls that are not incarnated, the ancestors and spirits and stuff that are around us. Something I say all the time, but they're around you and they're trying to help you. And that is you tuning in and having the awareness that you do have like a team around you trying to help you. It's like there's more people talking about that. And there seems to be more people that are understanding about reincarnation. So many people are saying stuff about the religion and, getting people to understand, like, you're not worshiping God, you're worshiping something else. And if you're going to follow Jesus, then you should have a different attitude, because you have a very different attitude than what Jesus had. So if you're going to claim Jesus as your Lord and Savior and you're following his path, then you should probably, present his same information. So, the hypocrisy and stuff keeps being pointed out. I'm seeing so much of the hypocrisy in the politics, so much of the hypocrisy in the medical, so much hypocrisy in this celebrity stuff. Like, it's all just keeps being pointed out more and more. And there's more and more people pointing it out. There's more and more people talking about it and sharing stuff about it. And there's so much weird stuff. And some of this stuff, like, they're just did it again. There's so many people who believe that every single person who has made it in Hollywood is a transgender person, that's part of the process. You're not allowed to be famous unless you change your biological body into the other sex. It's part of the humiliation. Like, you'll do anything for them. So if you want to be famous, yeah, we'll make you famous, but you're our little bitch and you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And then some people do. I don't think every single person is some sort of transgender, but I think there's a lot of stuff going on. I don't think Tom Hanks is alive. And I think he's in a new movie because they've either stuck somebody with a Tom Hanks mask on, or CGI or green screen. Like, it has nothing to do really with the movies. It's all about them just making money. Like, and of course they're going to come up with green screens and shit like that to make the movies, because they save money when they're not having to go out and find locations and have everybody go there and be on the location, pay for everybody to be there, and all the drama and anything with the weather or anything that can put them off and make things drag out. So of course, doing everything in a studio with a screen is going to be, what their plan is. Every single thing is all about this fake world. So, everything in their world is fake. So I definitely think some of the people are CGI people. And one of those psychics too said somebody's going to be coming back that we've all thought was dead. And the person who was sharing that information said, I think it's JFK Jr., which, when all of the stuff I saw about his death, I was like, oh, hell no, he's not dead. There's no freaking way. He knew what was going on. He knew what was going to happen. He was up against Hillary. He was already putting it out in George magazine. He put out her list, how many people she had done in. He was having his plane checked beforehand. I think definitely he didn't die. But anyways, when I heard that, I started thinking, I wonder if it's going to be Epstein, though. Like, that would be somebody who, any of these people who we've thought is dead, that's going to suddenly be like, I'm really alive. But, JFK Jr. would obviously, both of them would have quite a story to tell. So, I think there is going to be some people who are going to be telling some stories soon. And again, I used to hear Psychic LJ say this, And now these other people are saying, these other psychics are saying it, and I don't know, but that the EBS thing will go off, that we will all be limited on the TV. It's not going to be showing regular channels and stuff. It's going to be taken over, and it's going to be giving information about what's happening, showing trials and stuff like that. And I've seen where I saw a clip where it was some military person, I believe. Like, I don't know if it was what's his name. It was obviously somebody that people listen to. I don't know all these different people's names, but that he was saying that the tribunals have been going on this whole time. That there was a lottery done, and there was 30 reporters who won the lottery and have been there the whole time doing reports on it. So there's going to be all of this stuff will be reported. It's just going to be kind of after the fact. But I think that's part of the drama, is like, look, this was all happening. The news wasn't reporting it. Nobody was telling you, but this was all happening. And the people in charge, they're in charge of the media, so they can come up with these CGI characters and stuff to keep trying to trick us, like, oh no, nobody's gone. But people are paying attention. They're showing this stuff with Joe, going, okay, so is this a robot? Like, is it a CGI person? Like, if it's a person in a mask, they would have to blink. Like, how would they hold their eyes open? So it has to be something that isn't human. It would have to be some sort of robot or CGI or something. And plus, he just talks robotic. You get kind of used to his fumbling words and saying weird shit, and his impulsive anger behavior and stuff like that. Like, he's full-blown dementia. So, but I know it's all part of the humiliation of him, because he was so rotten. That's what they have been doing, is humiliating him, like, the whole time, because he is, I think it's kind of going to help people be more with their healing, to realize the humiliation that they have done to some of these people. But it is going to be curious to see about these trials. The one guy, he was talking about Hillary's and about the judge who got it, and he was telling this whole long story. So I can't imagine it would be made up. I really believe this stuff is going on, even though a lot of people think, like, oh no, it's all just made up. It's all a psyop. Nothing's happening. We're all going to die. We're all going to die. But I don't think that's true. I think all of this stuff is going on. I think that they are up against a system of such control that it had to go slow. Besides the fact it had to go slow to wake people up, because no matter what, when people get told this stuff that's outlandish, they can't believe it. They can't wrap their heads around it. They have to see it. They have to begin to question things. They have to open their mind to allow information in. So it had to play out so that people would see some of this outlandish stuff, because it would make them be able to, their minds accept more information. That's why with some of this, when this dramatic thing happens, that's why some people are going to be just so lost. I think for people like in my family, I think I've said enough stuff to plant enough seeds that they know something weird, but they're still in denial. Like, Kelly's crazy, I'm not going to listen. Like, I'm kind of curious to see when shit goes down, like, people around me, what are they going to do? What are they going to say? Like, I know for sure, like, the guy across the street and the guy next door who have weapons, that they would definitely include me in, we're going to protect people. They would definitely include me. Like, they know I'm single woman and stuff like that. And they like it. I'm a good neighbor. So I know that they, if somebody started marching in the street and shooting at us, but I'm not worried about any of this stuff. I'm not worried about even if I were to transition out, it's like, there's nothing to fear. With death is just a created thing. There's nothing to fear about it. They just build so much up in it. And I know that it is a lot to overcome, because I have it still in my head, like about death and stuff. I have to logically go in and think like, oh, wait, there's nothing to worry about, because it, it kind of like sits there kind of eating at you and eating at you like, oh, I could die. Is it going to hurt? What's going to happen? It's going to die. But, I mean, we literally are energy, and you really can't hurt us or kill us. And it really is that this is just a hologram in itself. So, it would be just, stepping out of the hologram, and the energy would just move on. But there's a lot that builds up in it. And I also saw where Larry King was interviewing Tyson Green, or whatever that scientist guy's name. He was saying something about this being a simulation. Like, I think that they have, I don't know. I wonder sometimes of what these scientists know and what they're willing to not talk about in order to have money or be famous or stay alive. Like, in some cases, some people have to be quiet just to stay alive. In some cases, some people I've seen, like, these people mean business. They've had people or their pets or all sorts of things that have happened in people's lives to warn them that they better shut up. And it all depends on, they just want to make money off of anybody. The people that they sponsor in the programming, the people who are just the worker bees, the people who are willing to be a lab rat. Like, it's all about just making money off of us. That's all that matters. Man, I've been talking a long time. So anyways, I was thinking, man, I should probably start talking again more about some of the other stuff that I was talking about before. Like, all of my old videos, I don't know what YouTube has done, but they don't even have that category anymore. You can look in the videos for what's the newest and what's the most popular, but you can't look for the oldest ones now. So they've just buried all of the old ones. So I was thinking, man, I should probably go in and start talking about some of that stuff again. And, like the trans agenda and what they were doing and how they were moving us into, well, they're showing, this line that we would all live in. Right now they have, there's floods in Iran, there's floods in Kentucky, there's floods in Las Vegas, and they've drained the water out of those things. And there's some, I saw where somebody said that, I don't know if it's a premonition or prophecy or whatever. I think it's on the $50 bill or something. When you fold it, that they have the, is it the Hudson River has a problem right now, but it's not that one. Is it Lake Mead or whatever, the big one that has drained all the water out, where people keep showing footage that what happened to all the water. Now people are saying, like, on that $50 bill, it showed that there was going to be an explosion there and it was going to kill all these people. So is it the white hats that drained out all the water so they can't do this explosion and kill a bunch of people? And that is supposedly, that's the conjecture that happened with the volcano that was going on, when they were just actively trying to blow that volcano that was going to take out Scotland, Ireland, New York. Like, it was going to take out a whole bunch of places. And they were just going to town on that. So do they just keep moving around? Like, I had heard recently, right before I left, that they were actively trying to set off the super volcano at Yellowstone. And there's a lot of stuff going on in Yellowstone. I haven't heard anything about that, but there's so much stuff to be watching out. And there's so much censorship going on that they hold back those videos. They don't let people see them. So somebody can be putting on, trying to show something, you're not going to see it. But so we have all sorts of floods happening. We have all sorts of people being killed. Like, it is absolute chaos. But there still is going to be that, like, pull everyone's attention into the same thing. There's still going to be some huge threat, which is still is looking very much like a nuclear threat is going to be coming, going to be the thing that's going to come. So, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, they keep just dragging this out. Like, Nancy's there. Like, come on. You say that this is a problem, so let's get to it. And a lot of people are concerned because China and Russia supposedly have gone in together to create their own money. And I think that they are even calling it rainbow currency, but that's the currency that's going to be all gold backed. And it's going to be where people, it's not like a country can say, well, our money is worth more than your money, and our money is worth more than your money. It's not going to be like that anymore. It's going to be like a flat thing. It's all going to be based on gold. All the countries got an equal amount of gold. They all had to sign contracts that said that they would all abide by this, humanity. The money goes back to humanity. The money goes back to to us and our lives, and to make our lives better instead of what we've been living. So the rainbow currency is a good thing. So that to me is, if they're trying to show that, then they are just trying to kind of like wake people up or get people to see. But people are so freaked out about the NWO and that currency thing, which is going to be completely different. So the one, because that's going to be based on our compliance, like you get money if you do what you're told. And this is going to be based on you get money because you're a human being, and the money's going back to the people and back into communities and back into making life better for people in all countries. And it's going to be all equal. There's not going to be, where somebody's richer than somebody else. The only thing that I find kind of strange about it is China. But there is some sort of a thing too, what I've heard with China. Like there's a CCP or something that their leader is very one way, and then there's another one. So they're at odds or something in their own, like how we are here. Like something's going on there. So I don't know about all that, but I know any of this stuff that's coming up to get us to be like, oh, they're going to have different money than us. They're going to have a different money. They're all going in together. They're all going to have the same money. That is to get us to be like, oh, what's the deal with that? What's their money? How's their money going to work? Why do we have this money and stuff like that? It's just to get us to start paying attention about money, start thinking about money, start understanding. And, we don't have to be on any of their money system. That's the thing. That is something that we can decide not to do. Like we can take what is owed to us, but that doesn't mean you have to live your daily life having to try and be a part of that system. If you have something that is worth bartering, or you have silver or gold, like there's going to be a lot of stuff about gold and silver, especially silver. There's going to be worth a lot of money because of the technology that they're going to use to make it. Silver is going to, what I hear, silver is going to be just like crazy how it's going to go up, because there's some sort of silver thread that they're going to be making with some of the stuff with the technology. So, but you won't have to use their money like to go to the store. Like if you are just bartering with a neighbor and, you're trading goods, it's going to be so much more of a free open market, but it's going to be so much more of community based. It's not going to be like we're buying everything from China and we don't even know what we're getting, and we have restrictions, they don't have restrictions. Like all this stuff about, like, Americans have had so much poison in our food for so long, and there's so many people pointing out about it now, and certain chemicals that are not even allowed in other countries, and we're consuming them. And so many people are showing about all of the cancer causing agents that we are eating in our food. Like it's mental. It's like, and no wonder that we're all not just dying. Like it takes effort to keep yourself healthy in this world, because this world really is out to just keep you sick, because they really do base everything on this science lab rat experimenting on us. And that's why it's such a dramatic thing that's coming to the surface about them changing the DNA and stuff. But that gets a lot of conversations going. There's a meaning to every single thing that is happening. So that's my sign. So anyways, I don't even know if I ever finished it the other day when I was out in the desert and there was no moon or stars. No moon, and there was a couple of stars, just a couple. But when you're out in the desert and there's no city lights around, that's when you see the most stars. And there was no moon, no stars. Out here, like this morning when I got up at 4:30, I looked out, I didn't see any moon. And, I couldn't see the stars, but over there is where the moon came in so bright. And I haven't seen it come in. So to me, all of everything that is going on is just absurd bullshit to get us to pay attention and to question things in our reality. So that gets our whole system going in another direction. It's like it just all of a sudden turns on things when you start to question things, because then you've opened the door for communication to begin to direct you. And, and it's only us that blocks that information. So, open your mind. That's what I would say. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.